Good morning, District 33 family. I'm your immediate past district director, Joseph Stephen Scota III. And I'm so glad to be part of this program we put together. It's called Want More Out of Toastmasters. Want more out of Toastmasters. Many of us have been Toastmasters many years, working through our pathways. Some of us are already DTMs. But others are like, what else can I do? I've already been president of a club, what else can I do? And encouraging others, hey, think about being an area director, maybe a division director, heck, maybe part of the trio, or what about finance? Finance is not an easy job. And every one of us has the skills and talents, but many of us, are a little short on self-confidence. So the whole idea is we're getting leaders to do these series who's been through the change, who's been all through the leadership channels to show you some of the challenges, some of the rewards, some of the, look what I could do now because I stepped into different leadership positions. It's been really exciting. We've had last month our past international director, Gloria Shishido. We've had Wayne Waynick. We've had Chuck Hooper who gave us a speech, which was great. We had a past district governor, Debbie Baker, and the list goes on and on. And we're going to continuously do this to give people an opportunity to share what they know, share what they do, and how Toastmasters has helped their life. Not just Toastmasters, but being a district leader. Trust me, it's a whole different world when you move to district leadership. If I had never gone to district leadership, they wouldn't let me wear hats. But ever since I worked my way up, I developed that little skill. Like, that's just too bad because that's who I am right now. Anyways, happy December, December 5th already? December 5th, 2021. I'm gonna give a quick introduction. Guy Dawson, who is our guest speaker today, he's a past district director, District 33 director, and he joined Toastmasters in 2007 with the goal of becoming a professional speaker. And along the way, he discovered that leadership was the path that would allow him to best serve others in Toastmasters. Guy served as the area D2 director in 2012 and 2013, and he led Division D to select distinguished status in 2013 and 14, and was the district PR officer in 14 and 15. And as District 33's club growth director, a year after 15 and 16, Guy facilitated the chartering of 15 new Toastmasters clubs. And believe it or not, one of those clubs Vanessa and I chartered was at Vandenberg Air Force Base in Lompoc, California, which is now Vandenberg Space Force Base. He was part of that. And believe it or not, District 33 that year became President's Distinguished that ranked number 9 in the world, number 9 in the world. He was District 33 director in 17 and 18 and helped facilitate the rollout of the Pathways program. Mentoring new and seasoned Toastmasters, that was kind of in the middle, and helping clubs succeed is where he puts a lot of his focus on these days. Now, please help me welcome distinguished Toastmaster, past district director, Guy Dawson, with this presentation of 5 pillars of success. So please put it together, put your hands together. This is going to be great, and we appreciate you, Guy. 5 pillars of Guy's success. Bring it on.
Well, thank you, Joseph. I want to let you know how much I appreciate you reaching out to me to give a presentation about some of my experiences in Toastmasters and how those experiences have been translating into my life. And I feel so welcome by District 33. I'm a District 33 person at heart. Of course, a couple of years ago, District 115 was established in Southern Nevada. However, my roots are in this district. This is a district that I did all of my leadership run through. And I want to let you all know how much I appreciate seeing your faces, reconnecting with all of you. There's quite a few people here who I've met through the years. We've worked together. We've created a lot of things. I've seen many of you join this organization, watched you as you've gone and grown through this organization. And for me, Joseph, that is the real fulfillment at this stage in my Toastmaster journey, where I am is that I get the most fulfillment. I've discovered this a couple of years ago, that the biggest fulfillment that I get now being a Toastmaster is watching the success of others. And when I joined the organization, that really wasn't the case. Like so many people, when I first joined Toastmasters, I had heard about it for many years. I thought it would just be a great opportunity for me to come in and refine my abilities as a speaker. I had a goal of being a professional speaker. And that's what I saw it as, really just a platform for me to come in, grow as a professional speaker, and then go off and pursue a speaking career. However, my experience of this organization is if you can stick around long enough and really get Toastmasters in your blood, you see the tremendous opportunities beyond sometimes the very specific goals that we have when we join Toastmasters that are available, the incredible friendships that you develop, the challenges, the opportunities to grow, the camaraderie of what Toastmasters is all about, how it makes you a different person. A very good friend of mine who's a past district director named Kay Collis one day brought that point up to me. We were in a mentoring session, and she brought up a very important point that I think gets overlooked in our organization sometimes. And it is about how being a Toastmaster makes you become a different person. And many times people see your growth before you see your growth. I would say in most cases, the people who are around us that are members of clubs that we're a part of, that we're serving with in leadership positions, have an outside perspective that we often don't have as we're engaged in the journey of being Toastmasters. And so I would say that the feedback that's being provided to us by our fellow Toastmasters, excuse me, is critical. If pay attention to the feedback that you're getting from your fellow Toastmasters, not just the negative things, but also the positive things that people are sharing with you about your growth, how you're becoming a better communicator, how you're becoming a better listener or a leader. People will give you absolute gold nuggets of what your strengths are through the communication that you have with them in the meetings, the evaluations that you receive in speeches that you present, and just the overall feedback that you receive from your fellow Toastmasters gives you a lot of the fundamentals that are going to help you with these pillars of success that I'm going to be talking about throughout my presentation today. And so, Joseph, is this the type of presentation where I talk for a while and then you come in and you ask me questions, or am I just going to go through a complete presentation? Is this interactive?
Guy, this is what you want it to be. Interactive's good, and most of us can agree when someone talks 30 minutes, it's kind of dry. But I'd appreciate you pause after each point and ask for some feedback. So that would be really good. I'm only going to interrupt as needed, but this is your show, Guy.
Absolutely. I am a very interactive presenter. So I think that's a great idea, Joseph, is each of the pillars that I present, after I've presented that pillar, I absolutely want to open up the floor to all of you for any questions or feedback that you have, because as all of us know, we've all been a part of many of these types of training. And the real learning doesn't just come from hearing me give a presentation about my own experiences. The beauty and the wonder of Toastmasters is the fact that we are a massive organization with over 300,000 members around the world. And what's wonderful about that aspect is we have 300,000 minds to tap into, 300,000 experiences. All of us are living different lives, but what we all bring to the table are those experiences. In a presentation like this, I thoroughly enjoy the interaction, people's feedback. Any questions that you might have about these pillars, please feel very open and free to ask questions or to be a part of this presentation. I will take a moment to reach out to everyone and open the floor after each of the bullet points that I'm going to be covering. When Joseph reached out to me about doing this presentation and he talked about 5 pillars of success, it made me have to think back, because I've been out of district leadership for a while. Many of the activities that I'm engaged in within Toastmasters are in a different space now than they were. And I greatly enjoy going back and tapping into some of these experiences that I had. I was fortunate because I had the opportunity to go on a 7-year leadership journey. As Joseph had within Toastmasters, as Joseph had mentioned, I began my leadership journey as an area director. The next year I went on to division director. The year after that, I went on to public relations officer, and then immediately joined the trio, became club growth director, program quality director, district director, and then of course, immediate past district director. Because I had such an intense leadership journey in Toastmasters over that 7 years, I gained a lot of insight about working with Toastmasters and how a Toastmaster thinks. And so these pillars that I'm going to be talking about are going to be about things you do in Toastmasters and how you can integrate these principles into whatever goals you are trying to pursue, either in your personal life or your professional life, because there is something for everyone in this organization. But that leadership journey for me, just working with hundreds of leaders, hundreds of clubs, gave me a lot of perspective on growth and development that I'll touch on with these 5 success points. The first pillar of success that I want to talk about this evening is an underrated one in Toastmasters, in my opinion, and it is appreciation and recognition. We have a unique opportunity in Toastmasters to receive and give a lot of appreciation and recognition. Giving and receiving recognition and appreciation is one of the most powerful tools for your own personal success that is available. And it's something that isn't talked about nearly enough. You know how, especially when we were in our in-person environment, so much about what we do is about the recognition. We clap for one another. We cheer for one another. We encourage one another. That recognition, that encouragement that we give to one another is a powerful tool to build our self-esteem, our self-confidence, and to create greater belief in ourselves. So for you, again, everyone joins Toastmasters with specific things that they want to accomplish. However, I believe that the recognition and appreciation is a fundamental principle that can be carried across any endeavor that you get involved in life. There is a specific tool that early on in Toastmasters showed me the power of appreciation and recognition. And it was those little white slips of paper that we used to have during in-person meetings. I mean, I'm sure all of you are familiar with those if you've been a part of the in-person Toastmaster world, where we can give feedback to our fellow Toastmaster members. Those white sheets for me were some of the greatest tools for connecting with my fellow Toastmasters and gaining a greater appreciation of what being a Toastmaster is. I made a commitment at around 2011 or 2012 that at every Toastmaster meeting that I would attend, I would fill out all of the recognition sheets for the speaker, for the Toastmaster, the general evaluator, or any of the other slips of paper that are available there to connect with your fellow Toastmasters. I really didn't think it was all that big of a deal. I was starting to learn about some of the power of giving and receiving recognition at that time, and I decided to give it a try and see what type of feedback I would get from that. For several years, I stayed very committed in all the clubs that I was in to, through these small slips of paper, just tiny, what I call love notes in Toastmasters, sharing those with other members. For several years, I just engaged in it and just kind of waited to see what kind of feedback I would get from doing that. What happened was miraculous. Probably within 6 months, I started to notice that my fellow Toastmasters began to expect the recognition and their appreciation in the form of those slips from me. They started to comment on how much they enjoyed the feedback that I would give them, how much it encouraged them. They talked about the fact that there were times when they would be having low days And we all know that we experience sometimes days that are not the most fun. We're going through different things in our lives, challenges in our personal, professional lives or otherwise, where we're not feeling at our best. I received so much feedback from our fellow Toastmasters about how they would take out those slips of paper that I would give to them and read them to give them a pep talk. They may not have been feeling exceptionally confident in themselves or believed in themselves that particular day. But some of the feedback that I provided helped them immensely. And they shared, there were many Toastmasters who would come back to me, both publicly and privately, to talk about the value of these little slips of paper where I was giving them recognition. I know we're still in the online platform for the most part, but I would say a way for us to utilize the chat box is to do the same thing, that you can send those same love letters that we used to send in person through chat, direct messages to people. I would say take advantage. When you see a member do something that you really appreciate, they made you feel better, they inspired you, they built you up, they touched your heart with something that they did, send them a direct message and let them know how they impacted you that day. Again, as I mentioned, the impact on the actual person who receives the recognition is enormous because you never know where people are in their lives and when you might affect them in an incredibly positive way. But the other energetic principle that I learned about giving recognition is the more that you give recognition to others, the more that you praise them, you talk about great things that they do, you do the silent clap or you do the visual clap. One of the things that I've noticed is now that we've gotten into this online platform, a lot of clubs were getting away from clapping. And there are tremendous benefits for everyone involved in a meeting where there's clapping going on. I would encourage all of you, maybe who've strayed away from clapping, just because it's a different experience that we're having online, to start doing that again. And if you don't clap, throw your hands up in the air. The recognition aspect brings a lot of that same recognition that you're giving to other people comes back to you. One of the things that I discovered was the more that I gave recognition to people, and I'm talking about genuine things, by the way. Don't be phony and just come up with things just to say it. Make it be from the heart. Your recognition of others, it's from the heart. It's something that you genuinely approve of, that you believe in, that you enjoyed through your experience with that person. Make it genuine. What I found from that was the more that I gave those notes, I got back probably 5 times as many notes as I gave out to other people, where people began to affirm me, recognize me. And for that was helpful. That was not really my initial intention in doing what I was doing, but it was definitely a tremendous benefit that I got from that simple practice. How does this translate into the world beyond Toastmasters? Who doesn't like to receive recognition and praise for things that they do? In our everyday lives, I'm sure our children, our husbands, our coworkers, all greatly appreciate it when someone says something to them that is encouraging, that's in praise of what they're doing. People are starving in this world, fellow Toastmasters, for praise and recognition. It's one of the biggest reasons why I believe this organization has been around for as long as it has been. We create a unique environment in Toastmasters where we're constantly giving and receiving recognition. One of the ways that we could take our spirit out into the world is to share this with the people in our environments. Praise the people around you. Recognize when they do things that are wonderful. Your children, your bosses. We have a lot of opportunities to take this great feeling, this great energy that we generate in Toastmaster meetings and make the world a better place with that energy. And we can do that through recognition and praise. Giving and receiving recognition is an absolute pillar of success. And if there's one thing, that's why I made it my first pillar. If you leave today out of all these 5 points that I touch on with one single principle that I can attribute to my success in life, it would be this number one principle: give and receive recognition at a high level. and you will see tremendous changes in your life. There is a tie-in here, and then I'll get into opening the floor for Q&A. There's a tie-in to giving and receiving recognition, and it's in alignment with gratitude. When you give and receive recognition, you're showing that you're grateful. And being grateful for everything in your life, for me, is one of the most powerful emotional and spiritual principles that you can embrace. That's why giving and receiving recognition works so well, because it taps into the spiritual and emotional principle of gratitude. A grateful person is a happy person. And by giving and receiving recognition, you're expressing your gratitude and receiving the gratitude of others, which builds you up as a person. Does anyone out there have feedback about what I just talked about or any questions about it? All right, giving and receiving recognition is the first. Oh, yes, Vanessa.
I just want to say one thing, and I don't want to belabor the point, but there is an opposite of getting and receiving the love notes and appreciation. And I remember once I was muted while I was giving a report, and I felt as if that was a slap in my face, and it stung my heart so much that I almost left Toastmasters as a result. I know our platforms are different, but it was an intentional muting. And I think that sometimes our soft skills in life, like appreciation and gratitude and love, they count more than let's be timely and let's stick to the agenda, and let's not say thank you for the sake of time. It's just a comment.
It's an excellent point, Vanessa. Toastmasters is all about people, and life is all about people. Even though we live in a systematic world where we are on timelines and we manage things, when it all comes down to it, whether we say it's not personal, you know how you hear the point, right? People talk about it's business, never personal. My experience in the business world is it is always personal, even in the business world. And so, yes, the soft skills that Vanessa talked about, one of our core values that I'll touch on is that respect core value. You never know how you might affect someone by something that you see as insignificant, such as muting them at an inopportune time, or not being aware of your surroundings. And emotional intelligence is another thing that I think is a big thing that Toastmasters can greatly contribute, is improving your emotional intelligence, your ability to understand your environment, and also know that you're always dealing with other human beings who have the exact same wants, needs, and feelings that you have. Anything that you're feeling, your fellow human beings are feeling as well. Excellent point, Vanessa. Yes, Twyla.
I use the old-fashioned snail mail and send thank you notes. And I keep mine. You know, if we send them on the laptop or on the phone, delete, and they're gone. But the old-fashioned snail mail, I put mine in a little box. And on a nice foggy day in January, when I'm sitting in my rocking chair with my blankie sucking my thumb, I can take out that box and read all my little thank you notes, and I feel better again because people say nice things to me again. So I figure I use those little snail mail thank you notes because they don't vanish into Zoom air someplace or other where you can't remember what they said. So I recommend snail mail thank yous sometimes.
Absolutely. It's physical mail is such a rare thing in our society now because we are so digital that it stands out like a sore thumb, doesn't it? When you receive a card or you receive a letter in snail mail, back in the days, we used to get so much junk mail that we tuned out mail. But we've gone to such an extreme in the other direction now because the world is so digitally oriented that we rarely receive things in the mail. So yes, using snail mail for me in my own life and business, I send out lots of cards, thank you cards, appreciation cards to people. It makes you unique amongst most people because very few people are sending cards via or anything via snail mail nowadays. I think that's an excellent point that you made, Twyla. Take advantage of areas that allow you to be unique, that allow you to touch people in a unique way. And you'll get a lot of appreciation just for doing that. I mean, if we really stop and think about getting a card from someone in the mail, I mean, that as compared to receiving a thank you email from someone, as Twyla had mentioned, that physical card, it goes on my desk. And I just keep looking at it, looking at it, looking at it, as compared to when I get an electronic thank you, I look at it, I appreciate it, don't get me wrong, but then I just move on to the next digital thing. There's something about a physical acknowledgement that makes a difference. And those notes, like Twyla had mentioned, when she sits there in a rocking chair, she's sucking her thumb and she wants to feel better about herself, she reads those things. People are craving, they are demanding from you recognition. They are starving for it. And the person who provides that is going to be the person that stands out in their mind. It gives you a special place in people's hearts when you recognize them.
Absolutely.
Does anyone else have any feedback or questions about that?
I think we're excited about find out pillar number 2.
All right, and am I going to have timing cards on this, Joseph, to keep me in line?
We could, but you're a pro. You got half an hour.
I still got a half. Okay, great. So
Yep.
at least I know where I am.
All right.
All right. The second pillar, excuse me, I have a little bit of a touch of a scratch in my throat, so I might cough a little bit through this presentation. Goal and mission pursuit. That's the second pillar of success that Toastmasters has greatly helped me enhance through my time in this organization. I feel like I was a pretty goal-oriented person before I got to Toastmasters. However, joining a Toastmaster club took my level of pursuing goals and just to Saturn in terms of working towards some type of a mission or a goal. I feel that if you're a member of Toastmasters, if you don't have a goal that you're striving for, that could be completion of another level in Toastmasters. It could be a mentoring goal. It could be leadership oriented. There are so many different things that we can create goals and missions that are geared toward through the things that we do in Toastmasters. You're doing yourself a disservice if you're not working towards goals. I heard a statement one time about human beings being goal-striving mechanisms. It was actually an incredible book that I highly recommend to anyone who wants to live a better life. And the book is called Cybernetics. It's an amazing, phenomenal book that was written by a man named Maxwell Maltz back in the 60s, I believe. Cybernetics is very Toastmaster-like in the principles that it teaches. One of the principles that he teaches in that book is that human beings are goal-striving mechanisms, and that's what makes us unique amongst all of the species on the planet, is that we're always working towards goals, and we can intelligently plot out the goals that we're working toward. No matter for what reason you join Toastmasters, even if your goal is to just have a better social life, there are a lot of people who join Toastmasters specifically for that reason. I would say if your goal maybe is not a leadership position, maybe you don't have a goal of greater communication, maybe you're retired and it's not professional, the reason why you're being a member of Toastmasters. Your goal could be on a completely social level. I have the goal of, I want to go to these Toastmaster meetings to make more friends, meet new people, hear experiences that other human beings are having. But there has to be that pursuit of a goal. And usually, in my case, as I had mentioned, what happened to me when I was working towards the 7-year run in leadership in Toastmasters was I constantly had my mind on the next position that I was going to be going into. After I was a division director, I pretty much made a decision that I was going to run for district director, that was my ultimate goal in leadership in Toastmasters, was that I would be a district director. And because I had set that audacious goal for myself, I knew that there were going to be a lot of steps along the way. You don't go from being a division director to a district director in one swoop. There were a lot of things that I was going to have to learn, experiences that I was going to have. I was going to have to grow in a lot of areas. I was going to have to give. Striving towards goals requires you to be a greater giver. And that's another important aspect of success in life. The most successful people in life are the greatest givers. What they're doing, in my experience, is they're using goals as platforms to give more to their fellow man, to the business or industry that they're in. They use these goals that they're working towards to provide value to people. And so as I had mentioned, the way I was incorporating this in my district leadership experience was I knew I had to grow. I knew for me to go on to that next level, because I wanted to serve my fellow Toastmasters. I wanted to give back to all of you what had been so freely given to me and has changed my life in such a positive way. I mean, the impact of Toastmasters on my life has been tremendous. Prior to even going through that leadership experience, it helped me to start the company that I'm continuing to run 13 years later. It created incredible relationships, improvement in my relationships with other people. I became a better listener, a better conversationalist, more thoughtful, more connected to people on an emotional level. I had received all of that before I even got to becoming a division director. I felt I had to give back. And so striving towards missions and goals, myself individually, us as areas, divisions, districts. Joseph talked about some of the accomplishments that we had in the leadership teams that I was a part of, working towards being a distinguished district, being a distinguished club, area, at whatever level you are, working towards the excellence, right? The pursuit of excellence and striving towards those goals is a wonderful thing. And it translates into all the other areas of your life. You're never going to find a person who's highly goal-oriented in Toastmasters who's not also highly goal and mission-oriented in the other areas of their lives. There's no way that you can put that type of a mindset into a box. Anyone who you see that's a high achiever in Toastmasters, who's out there going for it, club officer, getting levels completed in pathways, building clubs, chartering clubs, those people are doing those same things also in other areas of their life. Everything that we do in Toastmasters is transferable into real life, and that includes striving towards goals and missions. So I would say never get yourself caught in any way where you don't have a goal that you're working towards. And sometimes you got multiple things that you're working on, and make those goals priorities in your life. Toastmasters, just the simple act of preparing to give a presentation in pathways requires a lot of steps. That's just one speech. I would say take everything that you do seriously and have fun at the same time, of course, because we learn in periods of enjoyment. That's what Ralph Smedley said. This is an environment of fun and learning at the same time. But never take your eye off the prize, and always have another goal that you're working towards, and make the goals that you're working towards your goals. Your goals are not my goals. Your aspirations are not my aspirations. Make sure that when you're working towards a goal, that you're doing it because it's something that you truly want to accomplish, not just because someone said that you should work toward the goal. And not to say that the input that people give you cannot be extremely helpful with pursuing your goals. However, if the goal that you're working towards is not something that you have a deep belief in, you'll likely abandon it. And I don't think that that's the goal when we're working towards goals, is to abandon. I believe that if you receive inspiration to work towards something, that you're supposed to pursue that. But again, make sure that it's something that you truly believe in, that resonates with you, and something that brings you joy and happiness. Not that it's always going to be easy and smooth, because we know that's not how goals work. There is work that goes into goal achievement. But the pursuit of it, the purpose, the passion, that you pour into working towards goals makes you a better human being, a better person, a person of greater value to our society and your fellow man. Any feedback or comments on pursuing goals and missions? Do we have any goal-oriented people out there on this call? Anybody out there that pursues goals? Right. Come on, this is Toastmasters. Are you kidding me? Okay, would one person out there like to share a specific goal that they're working toward right now that's important to them? Is there one person who'd like to share that? How about you, Chuck? Great guy. Great to see you, Chuck.
I'm launching a couple of new businesses January 1st. Neither one of them is a for-profit. They're both to help speakers that have been struggling the last 2 years in their career. I was part of the National Speakers Association. Too many speakers were dying on a vine, just no work at all. So I'm starting two different, basically websites that promote speakers, and I've been licensed as an agency for one of them. So my goal is just to help speakers get back on their feet this coming year.
And that is a worthy goal, Chuck, because again, you've received, I know you've been a member for many years as well, and I'm sure you've received great benefit and learned a lot about speaking. And you have all this knowledge, and that's gonna, my third point is mentoring. We're gonna pour in, this will pour directly into that third point, but you've got a lot of knowledge to share, and I'm sure you wanna give it away, don't you?
Oh yeah.
That's why you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm too old to keep it in my own head. It'll just fall out.
Well, I appreciate you being a giver, Chuck. You've always been a giver, and I mean, you know, we've known each other for many years, and I've always seen you as a giver.
All right, that's
Brittany,
great.
I
Yeah.
thought you had your hand up, Brittany. Are you still? You still have a question?
I have a comment. In Toastmasters, we provided a supportive and positive learning experience and falter the result of to develop leadership skills and communication skills, and result in greater self-confidence and personal growth. That's what we do in Toastmasters, because I love the one, I like the fact, the one that you said that we have mission and goals in some other areas in Toastmasters, because I think that is a great idea for all of us to have goals in life, and say, and you ask yourself, what are you going to do as a part of Toastmasters? What are you going to expect to achieve goals? And that's the most important thing that you have, you know. We all wanted to achieve the goals. So yeah.
Extremely important, Brittany. Thank you for bringing that up. We're going to move on to the next pillar. We're kind of running out of time. So, all right, Guy, talk to us about number 3.
So my third pillar of success is mentoring, the magic of mentoring. Being members of Toastmasters gives us many opportunities to share what has been given so freely to us with others, as Chuck had mentioned a second ago about how he's taking this time to work with speakers out there to help them. As Toastmasters, the mentoring that we do with one another is a tremendous principle for success in all of life. The reason why mentoring works so well for me, from my perspective, there's many reasons why, and I won't get into all of them, but there are several that really stand out for me. The satisfaction that I get from sharing things that I have learned with other people brings me a great deal of personal fulfillment and makes me it brings purpose into my life. The things that I've learned through my interactions with people, my leadership experiences in business, relationships that I've been in, raising my son. These are all different things that I want to give away to others. And specifically in Toastmasters, because we're all in clubs, new members are constantly joining. We have existing members who also need to be mentored. I think that every Toastmaster member should have a mentor of some sort to help you along the way. It doesn't matter how many years you've been in Toastmasters. Having that outside person that you can go to run things by, to work with on the development of goals and things. I agree. I absolutely believe that everyone should have a mentor. So the value of mentoring works in terms of being able to give back what so freely, as I mentioned before, has been given to me, but also a great power of mentoring that is underrated is how much you gain when you're teaching things as the mentor. I've worked with a lot of mentees in different areas. Right now, I have many mentees in different areas of my life in business and elsewhere. And I can tell you that in working with them, the application, the questions that I ask, the things that they're going through, the questions that they ask me, just living and working together with all these different people gives me so much that enhances my own life. Again, when you give it away, you got to give it away to keep it, Toastmasters. The more that you give away, the more that you receive. And through mentoring, working with others, I get the transmission of their experiences. And it makes me think about things that are going on in my own life, my own challenges, my own triumphs. I get to tie those things together. And that, for me, helps me to solve problems in life many times. I work with a mentee. It's one of the best ways in the world. If I've got something tough that's going on in my own life, sitting down, working with someone else who's going through something in their life, it could be personal, it could be professional or otherwise, or something in Toastmasters, I get out of myself and I'm thinking about them, and that creates a lot of peace for me. So I would say, take advantage of any opportunity that you get to mentor another person. If they approach you, wonderful. If you see someone out there, maybe who needs a mentor in a different area of life, you can also approach them. I remember Joseph, as I was coming up through district leadership, and I thrust myself on Joseph Skoda, and I said, Joseph, I'm going to be your mentor. Before he even asked me to be. And it was based on the friendship that Joseph and I had, and we had been friends for many years in advance. But what it's done through the years is Joseph comes to me when he's got something he wants to talk to me about. We don't have a regular schedule of how we work together on things. Joseph, he'll just reach out to me sometimes and just say, hey, Guy, what do you think about this? Could you come and help me with that? That's the type of friendship that we've developed through the years. And, you get bonds with people through mentorships, lifetime bonds and friendships that are so valuable. These mentee-mentor relationships, it becomes family. These people they're a part of your human experience and journey. And so I would say, take advantage of mentee and mentor experiences. Incredible, the connections that you will make when you take the time to help other people. We are extremely fortunate to be in an organization that nurtures this spirit at a level that not many other places in life nurture this spirit. Take advantage of it to live a better life, to help you to achieve the goals that you're working towards, and to achieve the recognition that I talked about in the past pillars. Any feedback on mentoring, either receiving from a mentor or your experience being a mentor, and how that's affected your life?
I'm going to jump in real quick. I don't think there's a bigger compliment ever until somebody asks you to mentor them. That's such a big compliment that builds your ego a little bit, but more importantly, makes you work even harder because you don't want to steer them wrong. I think Guy and even Chuck And Clarice and Vanessa, we can all agree that we have lots of mentees in our life right now and a lot of different mentors that come and go to help us to the next level. It's so important. It's so great to have the self-confidence that we teach in Toastmasters. And when we have that relationship back and forth, there's truly nothing better. But yeah, we got like 15 minutes to go through the next pillar. So, all right,
I can do
guide
that.
mentorship. All right.
All right. Well, I'll take one more question really quickly because I'll be able to get through, I think, these last two pillars pretty quickly. Anyone else have any feedback or questions about mentoring?
Guy, what I put in the chat box was that is what this, for me, that is Toastmasters. We're there for each other. You end up, sometimes you get a mentor you didn't even know you needed, or we're looking for one.
Yeah.
But somebody out there, like when you took Joseph under your wing, you knew he needed help and you knew that you were the best person for it. And I've had that opportunity where somebody's come to me and say, hey, let me help you through this. And it's a very giving thing. And that's what I think keeps all of us here 10, 20, 30 years, 12 clubs later at a time.
Right.
Yes, Jackie, and I know you are quite a mentor. I know you've helped a lot of people, many, many, many people. So I know that you absolutely believe in what you just said. My experience of you is that.
In regards to that, someone in the chat box put, it's Brenna Davis. How do you ask for a mentor? I understand that because it's very hard to ask for a mentor. They may be all around you, but how do you say, hey, can you help me? Can you mentor me?
So I would say you look for the person who has what you want in whatever area that is. We receive mentorship in many areas, but if there is someone out there that you see in a specific club that you're in, let's say, that is a very confident speaker, and that's what you aspire to do, I would reach out to that person. The person who has what you want is the ultimate mentor, in my opinion, because that's who you want to emulate. You want to emulate success. We're talking about pillars of success here. When choosing a mentor, choose someone who's reached a level of success that you admire, someone that you see that they've got something that you want. And again, a mentor, you could want a mentor on the leadership side. It could be a mentor when it comes to relationships. There are so many different people out there who have skills that we don't have or can do things that we don't know how to do. The person that you admire is the person that I would say would be the best choice for a mentor. And you'd be surprised at how open they would be to helping you. You just have to ask, though. You're right. And that can be challenging, as Vanessa mentioned. But I would say that person that you admire the most, that would be the person that I would reach out to. The fourth pillar for greater success in Toastmasters and in life is applying Toastmasters core values. When I joined Toastmasters back in 2007, I had a loose familiarity with what core values represented. In being a part of the organization, I gained a greater understanding of the core values. And these core values are gold. And I will share the 4 core values of Toastmasters with all of you. Respect, integrity, service, and excellence are the core values of Toastmasters. And actually, Joseph had told me that they have core values of the Air Force that are also in the military, that they have actual core values, which is probably maybe where Ralph Smedley got this when he was developing the organization. The core values of Toastmasters work in all aspects of life. Who doesn't want to be respected? Who doesn't want to act in integrity in their lives? Who doesn't want to pursue excellence? Who doesn't want to provide great service? There's no member of Toastmasters, that's for sure, that doesn't want to strive for these types of core values. I would say that, again, it's not about you being the perfect human being. It's the pursuit of fulfilling the core values that you're truly striving towards. None of us are perfect human beings. We all have challenges in different areas of life, areas that we're stronger in, some that we're not. What I love about the core values is they don't represent you being the perfect human being, because there's no such thing as that. It's the pursuit of those core values to grow in those areas throughout your life. I think that that brings a vitality to people. And these core values that Toastmasters has, we have many opportunities to get better at those just being in our clubs. Respect your fellow members. Respect them when you give them evaluations, in the way that you respond to them in meetings. There's so many opportunities for us to be respectful of one another, to grow in respect. Hey, look, we all come from a lot of different backgrounds and experiences, and there are probably a lot of us that grew up in some environments where respect was not a core value. Maybe we don't have respect habits. That doesn't mean that you can't grow and become a more respectful person. And we learn that through our mentors, by being around the types of people that become members of Toastmasters. What do they say? Birds of a feather flock together. Embracing these core values is a lot of it. It's just being a Toastmaster rubs off on you. These core values, it's not even necessarily that you're working toward them. It's just that you're around all of these high achieving, positive people who are professionals. They're happy. They're trying to do better with their lives. These core values will rub off on you. And before you know it, you're acting more respectfully. You're striving towards excellence at a higher level. You're serving at a higher level. It just happens without you even realizing what you're becoming. As I had mentioned earlier on, a lot of times people can see the growth in us before we can see the growth in ourselves. I would say hang around Toastmasters long enough for these core values to rub off on you, and just try to become a better person from wherever you are right now. And we're all at different places. To me, my respect that I have for other people is based on their pursuit of being a better person. It's not that they are the great, perfect person. Start where you are. If you want to be better, pursue that core value. Esteemable, try to be more esteemable in your actions, a little bit at a time, and you'll start to embrace those core values. Anyone with any feedback or comments about that pillar? Respect, integrity, service, and excellence. That's what we live by as Toastmasters. And we can embrace that in all areas of our lives as well. Just give it a shot. The last pillar for success, does anyone have any feedback or comments, by the way, because I didn't see any hands up or. Okay, so the last pillar for me for success is developing visionary faculties. And this is tricky and can sometimes for people to understand. So I'm very quickly and simply, I want to explain what I mean by visionary faculties. It ties into all the other pillars that I talked about, in that I believe that a human being also needs to have a vision of something. And that vision doesn't necessarily have to be like, say, Henry Ford, for instance. Henry Ford had a vision of creating an assembly line to mass produce cars. He had a very specific vision. And this is something that had never been done before, what Henry Ford did when he created the assembly line for automobiles. Automobiles had been invented before Henry Ford, but Henry Ford took a concept, an automobile, and the vision that he had was that he could mass produce automobiles and ship them out so that everybody could have access to an automobile. That's a pretty broad vision. He's a unique human being in the fact that his company still exists and he's responsible for the mass production of cars. A lot of times when we think of visionaries, we think of people like that. And maybe we think that as ourselves, we don't have that type of visionary faculty within our brain, within our minds. And I want to say that every human being has an imagination and visionary potential. If there's something that you've thought about, that you've dreamed of, and it could be a unique invention, or it could be refining the way that something is being done now to where you can expand it and make it evolve, right? When you look at somebody like Bill Gates, computers, PCs were not his invention. His invention was operating systems that carried things to a higher level. There are very few things that are just invented out of the clear blue. Most things, there's a basis, and then a visionary takes a look at it and says, how could I create something greater out of this? So that visionary, the imagination that goes with developing your visionary faculties. Maybe it's something within the communication world. You want to teach people, like Chuck had mentioned, strategies that will help them. Yes, Joseph's got the telephone up there, another one of those visionary creations. And that's even a dial tone phone, isn't it? Oh, wow, Joseph. But as I had mentioned, taking your dreams, your dreams belong to you. And the visions that you have are special. Your visions of things are something that you should act on. And I'm not saying that you're going to mass produce some incredible product that the whole world is going to use. It could be just something as insignificant of help learning how to train people in a more effective way. It could be an actual invention of something. A way, it could be developing a Toastmaster club with a unique concept. There are endless possibilities to develop your visionary faculties, but the human brain has such expansive powers. They say that the average human being is only using about 5% of the power that we have between our ears. Can you imagine, with all that we're doing as human beings, all that we're accomplishing, that we are only using 5% of our creative faculties? What if you could just double that? And you'd still have 90% left. But just even to double that, and for me, that's tapping into your visionary faculties. How can I be a greater me? How can I create a larger vision of who I am? A vision that I have, how can I take that vision and communicate it effectively with other people in the world to help them, to help humanity to improve and grow? So I would say, if you've got a vision, if you've got a dream, pursue that dream. Be a dream catcher, a dream chaser. Develop your visionary faculties. And actually, I've got a presentation that I'm working on that can give you some specific steps on how to do that. Maybe if anyone's interested, you'd like to reach out to me, and maybe you'd want to attend one of these workshops that I'm developing about that. Anyway, I think that's it, Joseph. I think I got in under the wire with my 5 pillars for success. If anyone has any questions really quickly about visionary, developing your visionary faculties, I'm open to answer, or any feedback about that.
I think Twyla has something.
Yes, Twyla.
Well, I have a vision of people enjoying life more. And District 33 is calling me the Fun Factor Chair. And I would like to see people become more creative in learning and enjoying learning. So that's my vision of seeing people enjoying learning.
That is a noble vision. So Toastmaster-like. So Toastmaster-like. Does anyone else have any feedback, a vision of yours that you would like to share with us?
I think our district director does.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, good morning, Clarice.
Share your vision with us, Madam District Director.
Well, my vision, I have several visions, but I will share the vision for our district. The vision is, well, the goal is Smedley, but the vision is the reason why it's Smedley. It's not just about numbers. We have data targets to meet, but if we only focus on membership payments, clubs that are distinguished, or number of clubs that we grow or add, That's an important goal, but I think for me, the vision is to look at the member, to really see when you're defining Smedley Distinguished, it means that we have more people who are experiencing the benefits of Toastmasters. We have more members who are joining clubs to experience that positive and supportive experience and becoming empowered and learning and growing. So to me, the vision is Smedley, where district-wide, we have all of this happening. We have new clubs that are serving populations that don't have, who are not currently benefiting from Toastmasters. And they're having fun. So the fun factor. I'm not saying goals are not important, but if you're focusing and you're only communicating numbers, every membership payment is a person to me. And I think that to me is the vision, is really seeing tremendous growth, but more importantly, our members are learning and growing, and in the process discovering something about themselves that they did not have before, whether it's faith, belief, a new skill, how to use a new tool. So that's my vision.
Contributing to the lives of others, one member at a time.
Exactly.
Yes, I understand completely, Clarice. I think we only had one. Yeah, well, maybe this will be our last comment. Brittany, you got your hand up there.
Okay, so I have my vision is to become a great leader for my success, because in Toastmasters, we all wanted to become a leader, and I served in the because right now I've been serving in 3 clubs, like for example, like VP of Education, Public Relations, and Vice President membership, which is pretty which I'm pretty satisfied about, and I'm really excited to come to to join the club, the speech contest workshop, which is pretty cool. And vision is a key to be a better leadership. That's what we're doing Toastmasters. That's what we all want to do in Toastmasters.
Yes, Brittany, and the point that you made about being a club officer is a great opportunity to begin to grow. We've also talked about district leadership. And from my perspective, if you want to become all you can be all you can be, as the Army says, one of the ways that you can get there is take advantage of this unique opportunity that you have to either be an area director or a division director, or to whatever level you'd like to achieve. I highly recommend that you take on district leadership roles, not just to get the Distinguished Toastmaster banner that you get, the plaque that you get because to be becoming a Distinguished Toastmaster, but because of who you'll become as you pursue that incredible leadership opportunity that we all have being members of Toastmasters. And I want to say to all of you, go out there, use these 5 pillars of success to be all that you can be. Thank you, Joseph.
All right. Hey, everyone, give it up to Guy Dawson. Give it up for Guy Dawson. We deeply appreciate it. Well, let Ed ask his question. Ed had his hand up earlier. Ed, what are your comments?
Oh, just what I put in the chat. I love the idea that Twyla brought up about the physical letters, because I've been thinking about how could I do that in the office with remote workers and that kind of thing, recognition, something tangible. So that's a great idea. I'm taking that to heart and putting it into action. Lots of great ideas. Thanks for everybody's participation.
Thank you so much. When I was district director last year, I had some pens made up. I don't have it in front of me, but it said District 33 rocks and thank you for everything you do. It's just a small thing. But you have something like that or a card. I have cards made up too, says you rock, and I send those out. Those little words of encouragement and recognition go a long way. And I think that's what leadership teaches us, or it should more than anything else, is to recognize other talent and help develop them. And that's the most important thing I learned during my journey is recognizing others. We'll all get ours. We're already stepping out and trying to learn and grow more, and we get the right mentors, but we need to bring up other people behind us. That's what a true leader does. Thank you once again, Guy. And when we're in District 115, make sure to visit, look for him out in Las Vegas. He might be on the strip, he may not be, but I get there quite often. Thank you so much for all your input. And I encourage the rest of you, if you've been in leadership or have not been in leadership in a long time, please sign up and consider. It's in the chat box, DLC. We're looking for leaders for next year and encourage other people that you know. And sometimes it's just a word of encouragement. You can do it. Hey, Joel, we know you can do it. Just those little things to show people that we're watching. Because quite frankly, people are watching and we should be looking and encouraging the best performance that we can. And we're here to develop and create the best of the best. Like Guy says, be all that you can be. Thank you, everyone. Pleasant evening, District 33.
Thank you, Guy.
rocks.
That was wonderful.
That was so
152.
wonderful, you guys.
We'll see you next month, the 5th at 7. The 5th at 7. Thank you so much.
All right, take care, everyone. Way to go,
Bye.
District
Bye.
33.
Woo-hoo, get her done.
Bye.
Have a
Good
good
night.
evening, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
You.
Thank you, Guy.